Hey YouTube, welcome to Dad's Garage HD. I'm Ironhead. This is my 2007 Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R. It's a 998cc motorcycle with an inline 4. About 175 horses, give or take, depends on what you do. This one's pretty much fully stock. Still got the stock exhaust, everything on it. I just picked it up, was doing some maintenance on it. So far we've changed the plugs, we've changed the air filter, we've changed the oil, pretty much done all the maintenance that you can do to this. But a bike with this kind of mileage, which is about 18,000 plus, you need to have the valves checked, the clearance on the valves. And these high revving motorcycles tend to get out of range, out of spec real easy. So about 15,000 miles, they call for a valve clearance check. And what that means is you have to remove the gas tank, the fairings, the top of the air box, which sits right up under here if you watch my video on the air filter, and get to the top of the head. You got to remove parts of the frame on each side, pull the valve cover off, and the two cams sit right up top. And that's where you check the valve clearance. And if the clearance is within spec, then you can just button everything back up and go. If not, you put shims in between the lifter and the intake or exhaust valve, whichever one needs the clearance adjusted. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna remove the fairings off this bike. We're gonna dig into it. We're gonna get the top of it off, and we're gonna check out the clearance to make sure it's still within spec. First thing is, we're going to remove all these fairings and get this done. And just like that, there you go. Wished everything was that easy, right? Okay, so what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to wind up taking all kinds of stuff off here. We're going to start with the gas tank, then we'll move down to the side of the body. Wouldn't you know it, I just filled it up with gas. You can nearly do everything you want on this bike with a 4mm hex and a 10mm socket and ratchet. All right, I'm going to hold this up here just so I can get some of this stuff unhooked. Okay, next we got to undo the fuel supply. Let me get a rag, because a little bit of gas is going to come out of there, and we want to capture that. It's going to come out of the hose. And this little red clamp slides down and lets you unplug it. And just as I thought, just a little bit of fuel coming on. Okay, so we've got the fuel pump disconnected, the fuel source disconnected, so all we need to do is remove that 10mm bolt. And the tank will come off. Let it relax. Okay, bolt is out. We just got to lift this 3, 4, 5 gallons of fuel. What's next, they say? Airbox. We'll go ahead and pull this and pull the whole thing off. In the meantime, we'll be unplugging all these connectors that go to the airbox. There's a hose down here. There's a hose right here that has to be unplugged. And I think that there's one more. Yep, there it is right there. Already came unplugged. And then we'll pull all these screws out. Voila! Air filter extraordinaire. Put him right back in. This is a very tricky thing here. Maybe easy. So I'm pulling loose the duct of the forced air. They're little rubber gizmos that come in right here. And I'm gonna get those loose. And then 5 bolts. We'll go ahead and get these going. Be careful, you don't want to drop any of these down in the motor. Okay, throw 5 of those out. Boom. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these out. In through the frame. Next, we're going to take loose all of these air hoses and unplug everything here. This has got to come out, and then we're going to unplug all of the coils. We're going to unplug the coils now. Now that we've got everything cleared, and we're going to be starting to take loose all of these. I'm going to leave them in just for the time being. I'm going to raise the bike back up. We got to remove some of the frame, the bolt-on frame stuff, so we can get into the sides. So stay tuned. Okay, now that I've got the side of the motor exposed, got the coils out of 4 and 3, I'm going to move over to the other side of the motor, get the other side off, and I'll be back to tackle the rest of this. Well, I've got all of the everything cleared on top of the valve cover, everything pulled back, everything's ready. I'm ready to start loosening the tapping cover or valve cover. Okay, that one's done. That one's loose. So these are the bolts that I'm taking out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They've already got the 2 on the end. We're going for the ones in the middle. Next. Take that one out. Let me change shorty. Got him. And we'll have to do those with the wrench. Got that one. They're not very tight. Now they have a shoulder on them to prevent you from crushing the valve cover of over tensioning. So I'm not paying too much attention to how loose they were. Although we did have a slight valve cover leak. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this bolt completely. Okay, seems to be pretty loose. No prying needed. Very tedious process here without ripping something out. That's the inside of what that looks like. And none of the dowels came, so they all stayed in, which is a good thing. So all these ports here seem to be okay. The dowels stayed in. These are the cams, by the way. So this is the exhaust cam, and this is the intake. And we're going to be measuring inside here on the opposite side of the lobes. I guess here is what I'm trying to point at. So here's 2, here's 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. There's 16 altogether. As we are going to align this, we're going to pull these ports and get top dead center for number 1. To look for a mark or top dead center. Here's where we turn, and here's where we watch for the top dead center on 1. I found it just as easy if you can turn it from here, but just watch the cam. As soon as the cam is, in the opposite directions on the low of the lobe, that's when you can measure. It's just as easy to do everything up top. But these are the ports that they want you to use to turn. You can turn it from here and then watch everything from that one. And we're watching, like that cam right there, it's looking like we're almost top dead center. We're supposed to have, on the exhaust, we're supposed to have 0.17 to 0.22 millimeters on the exhaust side and 0.15 to 0.24 on the intake side. Let's do all the exhaust first, and I have a sheet here that I'm going to fill out doing all the exhausts. So we'll start right here. Enter the exhaust specs. I'm just going to write this in, and then I'll take it in there and put it on the Excel sheet, and then we'll go from there. So we'll do the exhaust first at 0.17 to 0.22. Pretty tight. We're going to move down. That was a 0.178. Let's see how much difference there is here. Oh, wait a minute, that's not. 0.152 on the inlet side, 0.152 is a little bit tight. Let's see. Yep. So we'll call it a 0.152. 0.152, 0.16, and 0.15, which is the minimum. Fits really nice. A little loose. 0.17. Okay, that's more like it. 0.17. So 0.17, 0.17. Okay. Let's see, exhaust side. .17, both of them. Now the intake, hopefully we'll go to 0.15. A little tight. Make sure I got it right. It's a little tight, but it's right at it. I'm going to call both of those 0.15. It's really tight though. A little plus. A little plus. Okay, so using my feeler gauge, I went through each one of the lifter to cam spacings with the appropriate and measured and got each one of these. And the way I did it, I don't know if you try to see if the camera can see this, is by sliding the feeler gauge between the cam and the lifter. This is the lifter, this is the cam lobe. This is the space between it when the cam lobe is at its smallest. I measured all 16 of the valves and recorded my data onto this sheet. Now, preliminarily, what I've come is all of my intake valves are in spec. Everything's within spec. It's on the low end, but they are within spec. I got 1.15. Now, we are looking for 0.15 to 0.24 on the intakes. So there's a 0.15, 0.16. So this is one that's real close, but I think I'm just going to leave this one alone. It is within spec. It's on the low end, but it is within spec. The exhaust, however, I've only got 1, 2, 3 within spec. The specs are 0.17 to 0.22. That's the spacing between the lifter and the cam lobe. And the only ones that are within that that criteria are cylinder 2 and 1 of cylinder 3 on the exhaust valves. So I'm going to have to remove the cam on the exhaust side, see what the spacing is, see what shim is located in each one, put that information into my sheet, and this Excel sheet should spit out exactly what I need to do to those right there, all of those that are out of spec, 14, 16, all of these, what I need to do to bring all those back within specs of a 0.17 to 0.22 millimeters. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Again, got the data recorded, so now it's time to pull the exhaust cam. But before we do, what we need to do is we need to make a really notarized mark on the timing chain and timing gear to make sure that it doesn't move. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make marks. I'm going to make 2 on the exhaust side, make 1 here, and I'm going to put a zip tie on the intake side so I don't lose the tension on the camshaft. And then I'm going to pull all of this and pull the cam out, see what shims are in that on those lifters, record it, go put it into the sheet, and then come back and put the appropriate shim into each one, and then put it back together. Simple, right? Okay, well, something happened and I had to turn the camera off, and I just wanted to kind of let you guys know what's going on. During checking the shims for the valve clearance, I pulled one of the lifters up, and one of the shims fell out, dropped down into the oil passage through the head, and I panicked. So rookie move, it stuck to the lifter, and I just flung it out, and it went down into that hole. Usually they just land and I pick them up with my magnet, but in this case, I used the magnet, picked the lifter up, and it just shot out, fell down into the oil passage. And so I started taking the bike apart. And as you can tell, I just now put the head on it, just got the head gasket today, which is a couple of days from when I started recording this. But anyway, so I got the head gasket, got the shim out. It fell down into the oil pan. It was not lodged into the head. Went ahead and removed the head, drained the oil, pulled the oil pan, and there it was sitting in the bottom of the pan. Lucky me. The only thing unlucky about it is I didn't drain the oil and pull the oil pan before I pulled the head. But nevertheless, pulled the head, did all the shims and everything. Hopefully, I think we're ready to go. Got the head gasket on, just started torquing everything to a final torque spec. So I'm about halfway through, and we're going to get the cams back in, get everything settled, and I'm going to rotate the engine over and measure and see where we're at, make sure that all the clearances are good. If 1 or 2 of them are off, I'll have to pull the cams back off and replace the shim. But for the most part, that's where we're at. So welcome to the shit show, right? So anyway, try to get you ranged here where you're not blinded by the work lights. So you can see what's going on there. Okay. All right. I apologize if you get blinded by this light, but I've got to be able to see what's going on here. and on the other hand, and then also I need to finish torquing this. So right now we're going with the used bolts at 42 foot-pounds in a sequence, and I'm just finished up number 4. Let me double check number 4. The 4th bolt. Yep. So what you do is you start in the middle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So right now that was number 4, so we're going to go to number 5. Being real careful, having to use used bolts sometimes when you torque them down. In fact, if it's a new bolt, the torque is 44 foot-pounds, and if it's a used bolt, it's 42. So we're setting on 42. I'm being real careful about how I torque this, because the last thing I want to do is break one of these studs and then have to buy another head gasket, pull everything back off, and wait for the install to continue. Okay, now I believe this is 7 and 8, which is all the way over on the outside edge. Okay. Seven and 8. Nine. 10. And then these in front, these small M6 bolts, I've already torqued them, but I'm going to check them again. It's supposed to be 106 inch-pounds. So I got my inch-pound torque wrench here. Yep, that's still good. Yep. Slide in these cams. We're going to start with the intake cam, and then put the timing. So before I did all this, I put some marks on the camshaft and the timing chain to so when I put this all back together, maybe everything would be really close to back on track. And so that is exactly where it needs to be, right there. So I need to cut this zip tie that was holding the timing chain. I just set that zip tie there so I could hold that timing chain above the head so it wouldn't fall back down into the cylinder. And I'd start all over again. So there's that cam. Put him in. We're going to go ahead and get some assembly grease on all of those before we do the next one. I guess I should have done this before I put the cam in, but there is some on it, but I think it rubbed all off. I got some assembly grease on just about everything. Got the chain, got my marks set. Okay, so that's all good. Now what we need to do first is we need to put the guide in at the front to keep the cam spacing from side to side. So that's got to go in first. I just got to add it just a minute ago. Cam guide. Here we go. And this holds the timing chain guard and everything. But if you see this little ridge right there, it fits onto the cam right here. Huh. Be helpful if we had the other cam in as well. So let me do some assembly grease here. All right, this time I'll put a little bit on here. Rotating this on the chain to my marks. That is exactly where it needs to be. Okay, I need to put this guide in. Now we can mark it. And it's numbered. This is number 1, telling you to put this one in first. I'm just going to put this cam chain. Two of the intake on cylinder 2, or I'm sorry, cylinder 3 are opening here, or are open in our top dead center. Okay, so the idea here, hopefully you're seeing all this. The idea of most of this, or of all of this, is to work your way from here out. Okay? That way you don't bend the camshaft or damage anything. So what we're doing is we're just working a little at a time. Got all of them started. So what we're going to do is we're going to work these right here and a little at a time, and work our way. So it's actually says to do this. I want to get these started a little bit more, and then 1 and 2. Let's see how we do this. Yeah. That, and then we'll go ahead and get the caps for the other one and get that started so we can do them all at the same time, which is 1 and 2. 1, 2. Okay. Do a little assembly lube. Same thing on number 2. Okay. Start some bolts. Make sure all these gaskets are good. Okay. I've got my cheat sheet right down here that tells me which bolts to hit first and all that. I think it's a very important process, so I want to make sure that I'm doing everything right. I came this far, I don't want to tear it up. Thank goodness. If I'm dropping shims down the oil path, oil channel, whew, luckily it did go into the oil pan. Okay. Looks like we're getting gussied up here. And the last bolt. So all my batteries died. I didn't know it for the longest time. I got the bike back together after doing the valve adjustment. So just to sum it up, I went into this to change out the valve cover gasket that was leaking oil. While I was in there, I thought 18,000 miles, might as well do a valve adjustment or a valve check. Did the valve check, and all of the exhaust valves were tight. You know, real tight, within 2/100ths tight. So I took all of the shims, did all the shim count, figured out what I needed, put them all back in. And as I was putting them back in, doing the final check, I dropped one of the shims and went into the oil passage, into the oil feed, down into the motor. Had just changed the oil pan back on, new oil pan gasket, fresh oil, head gasket, put the head back on, performed the valve adjustment, get everything corrected, put the new valve cover gasket on, button the valve cover up, put everything back, put the throttle body back on, the radiator, put everything back on, the fairings, And this is what I have. Perfect. Runs really good. So, I'm in business. Back in business, I should say. The bike's had its top end maintenance on it. It's good for another 15,000 miles as far as the heads are concerned. Oil change has been done. Coolant has been changed. Yeah, it's in tip-top shape. Been riding it today. It runs really good for a 18-year-old bike, so almost 19. So it's funny that it's the same age as my son, 2007. So anyway, just wanted to give you guys that update. Sorry about the battery and everything, but you got the gist of it. You saw where I was at going back together with the thing. I think the last thing that we were looking at was the final check on the adjustments. So anyway, thanks for watching my video. I appreciate it. Hey, if you enjoyed it, give it a like, thumbs up, man. It helps the channel. If you want to see more of my content, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, thanks for watching Dad's Garage HD, man. Until next time, stay safe.